Hi, I am Natalie Rogers with Tat Your Own Adventure. I am going to be covering single shuttle split rings in this tutorial. So in the last thing I filmed, I ended up running out of one of my threads. So not only am I going to show you a single shuttle split ring, I'm also going to show you how to hide that tail in the process. So we're going to walk through how to do a single shuttle split ring. So obviously, from its name, you only need one shuttle to do this. So here we go. We're going to wrap it around our hand. Single shuttle split rings will only be one color. So the previous split rings I was showing are composed of two different colors to show you how the split works. This is just going to give you a ring of the same color, but with the split ring, you can control where it comes out. So we're going to get started. We're going to start with, it starts like a normal ring, but I am going to be tucking a tail. So I'm going to be opening up this loop to grab the blue thread and pull it through. So that's the first half of my stitch. Slide it down to snug to the last ring. Make my loop again, make sure it flips over to the other thread. Come and grab my blue. Okay, there's one stitch. Here comes stitch number 2 again. That flipped loop is what I'm coming through to grab the blue, so it becomes part of my core thread. There's 2. Well, that's the first half of 2. Here's the second half. Again, making sure it flips over, grabbing that blue. Okay, so there's 2 stitches. Here's stitch number 3. Start of it, grabbing that tail, sliding it down. Dropped my shuttle. There we go. Stitch, second half of stitch number 3. Grab that loop. Make sure blue thread comes through the loop. It's right next to my core thread, which is attached to my shuttle. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna stretch this out just a little bit. I'm gonna get a 4th stitch down and then I'll cut the blue so we won't have to worry about it for the rest of this bit. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Here's the last one there, 4. Okay, when you are doing this, please make sure you snug it tight, those stitches tight, so that you can clip the blue as close as possible. When you clip the blue, please make sure you don't clip your other threads, so I don't want to clip my purples. That's why sharp scissors are handy. Okay, as you can see, that blue is now gone. Doing stitch number 5. Okay, completely covered the blue. You don't see it on either side. Now I'm down to my single shuttle, which is what I'm using for this. So single shuttle split ring. I've done 5 stitches. I am going to do a picot. Okay. Single shuttle split rings work really well when the ring isn't joining anything. They do not work when the ring joins somewhere. So we are not joining this ring to anything else. I did 5 picot and one more to make this 5. Okay. For this one, I want my thread to come out the top of the split ring. So I've done half of my ring, 5 picot 5. Now the second half of my split ring, I am going to still tat with this, but I'm not going to tat it with my shuttle. I'm going to take and get myself a length of thread, just tuck my shuttle into my hand, and now I have a loop. I'm going to finger tat with this loop 5 picot 5. So making sure I've got the loop, coming through, pulling that loop, still flipping. 1. Okay. 2. Need some space. So when I pull this, I'm actually pulling from my loop, so I have to be careful and not lose my loop. So if I have to unwind my shuttle to pull more through, I want to make sure I do that so that I don't lose the loop, or I'll have to start this part over. Okay, we've got 2 so far. Let's do the third one here. Just finger tatting with that. If you are not a fan of finger tatting, you can always grab a post shuttle you can always grab a post shuttle. It doesn't matter if there's something on it or not. This has something on it, but that's not a problem. And what you can do is you can take your post shuttle and slide the loop onto it, and then you can just use it like a regular shuttle to tat your stitches. So let's go back to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5. Just make sure if you have other thread wound on it, it's not getting in the way. This also helps when you are widening your ring. You won't accidentally pull the loop through because the loop is attached to something temporarily. 5, I'm gonna do a picot. Try to make it match the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then I'm going to take that off that shuttle. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out which one of these threads, when pulled, okay, I'm pulling on the loop thread. I want to close the ring. Pulling on the loop thread to close the ring. And then I get my ring all snug. So there we go. I've closed the ring, but I still have this loop that I have to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I need to put my work through it so that the loop ends up on the other side. So I should have the loop traveling around my work. The reason we're doing that is because we're about to pull this through. If we don't pass it around our work, there's going to be nothing for it to grab onto, and it's going to just pop out, and we'll have to redo what we just did. Okay. Putting it around our work instead makes it so we're going to secure it, and it's going to secure right at the base of this ring. It's just going to be a little loop of thread around the base. And then because we tatted with the loop, it comes down around that base and then right back up. And basically we've covered it with all the stitches we just made with that loop. So we're going to pull this up. So I have to be careful to make sure this loop stays around the work and doesn't pop up or down off of the work, depending on how many things you have done too. So I'm going to keep it in a pinch between my fingers. That way it won't come undone. And there we go. If you take a look, you really can't tell. You have to look really close to kind of see that little blip of thread that's around the base. And that closed it, and instead of ending where we normally would on a ring, which is down at the base, we ended up opposite it at the top, which is where we end up on a split ring. So that is why it's called a single shuttle split ring, because you can control where your thread comes out of it. If this were the end of a project, I could clip this close. Like I could clip it right down to there, and guess what? My tail's already hidden because it's underneath these 10 stitches that we made with that loop. So it can come in handy when finishing a project. If you finish on a ring that's not joined to anything, as long as you didn't make joins, you can use this technique. If you made joins, this technique does not work. Okay, so that is a single shuttle split ring. So we're going to go ahead and do a pattern. We're going to work 5 rings here. But not with this shuttle because I don't have enough thread to work 5 rings here. So let me grab another shuttle. Okay, so I have a new shuttle that should have enough to do this process. So my pattern, we're gonna just start with a ring of 10. Sorry, this is popping out the wrong side for me. Fix that really quick. There we go, I like that better. Okay, do a ring of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you were continuing on practice thread and not starting with a new piece of thread, please do 5 split ring, 5 single shuttle split ring 5. But since I had to switch shuttles, I am just starting with the normal ring because there's no reason to make a single shuttle split ring with the first ring, because it's gonna come out in the same spot no matter what you do. So we did that. I am gonna show you again how to cover that tail because it's good practice. Covering your tails as you go is so much nicer than having to sew them in at the end. So again, I get my flippy loop and then bringing that through so it becomes part of the core thread and slide it down. This is going to be a 5 split ring 5. So I'm going to do 5 normal stitches. After 4 of them, I'm going to cut out that core thread that I am covering, again by grabbing the loop, pulling it through the loop so it matches the core thread of the shuttle, and then sliding it down tight. So there's 2, a little more space in my ring. There's 3. There's 4. So I've got 4 in. 4 is usually the minimum number of stitches I'm willing to have over a tail before I cut the tail. I can cut that and that's gone. Got a little fuzzy here, so let me cut that too. There we go. Okay, when cutting, do make sure you're not accidentally cutting your ring thread or your shuttle thread. You only want to cut the tail that you're cutting, or you're going to end up cutting your ring and then you have to redo things, and that's never fun. Okay, so that's 4, here's 5, and that's going to be, then we're moving to the split ring half, and on a single shuttle, that's when we put our shuttle into our hand pocket, or just let it dangle, so that we've got it in our pinch, we've got a loop, and we're going to work this loop with finger tatting, so I'm going to finger tat this one, and then on the next one I'll show again how you can grab that shuttle, a post shuttle, and stick it through and have a shuttle to work with. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with our loop. Again, remember that the loop is what we want to close the ring with. So we find which one we need to tug to make the ring smaller, and that's the one we're going to use to close the ring. Okay, I have closed my ring up. I then want to make sure I'm not twisted here. There we go, I was kind of twisted on that. I want one thread to go off to one side and one to the other, and it comes around the project. So I'm going to be capturing the project in that loop, so that when I pull this loop closed, it will catch around the project and not undo all of the stitches I just did. Okay, so there you go. We came out the top of it, got a little bit of a figure 8 going on here. Okay, we came out the top and we're ready to do our next one. Our next one that I'm going to have you do is going to be an uneven split ring. So we're going to do 8 stitches, and then we're going to do only 2 stitches with our loop. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ready to do our loop. This time I'm gonna grab my shuttle. And again, that's just so that I can tap with the shuttle instead of my fingers. It is not needed. Some people just find that it makes it easier to work their stitches. This one's only 2, so I don't need it for very long. Then I unhook it from my shuttle. Okay, I'm gonna make the loop a little bit smaller before I use it to close. Okay, so we always want to close the rings loop before we close the loop that we just tatted with. So figure out which way pulls the ring. It's this one for me. I'm gonna pull that snug. And then again, I want to make sure that this goes to both sides of my project and behind it, because I want to close it so that it captures the project and doesn't pull all the way back through. Okay. Apparently didn't pull quite as tight to this one. I've got a little bit of bare thread space between it and the last ring. Sometimes that happens. So I'm going to intentionally give about the same space on this next one so that it looks similar. Okay. This is going to just be a 5 picot 5, or sorry, not picot, 5 split ring 5. This ring that we just finished, I would not like ending here, which there would be no point to end out the side. You can easily end out the top with even stitches on both sides. So because there's only 2 stitches that go over that looped thread, and I always like at least 4 stitches, so I would not use that. I would not use a 2 stitch to end on. I would have at least 4 on this part. Okay, so we're gonna do 5 split ring 5. Wind this up a little bit. It's kind of gotten really long. Here we go. Okay, 5 split ring 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make my ring a little bit bigger. Let's tuck my shuttle for my loop. And tat 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again, you're going to want to look for the one. That one's moved my shuttle. It's not the one I'm trying to move right now. I want to move the ring. This one moves the ring. There we go. So we'll be tucking on this side of the loop. I'm going to pull it snug. Okay. And then again, I want this to cross off to both sides and around. So I've got it around my project before I pull my shuttle thread to close the loop I tatted with. There we go. So you can see that allows you to turn and make points. This is great if you want to do like alphabet letters, or just make shapes where you have corners. You can play around with those uneven split rings. Okay, we're gonna finish off with one more split ring. You might be thinking, why would I do a split ring as my last one? But remember how we said it can cover tails? If I do a split ring as my last one, when I trim the tail at the end, I don't have to sew it in because it's already going to be under 5 stitches because I'm doing a 5 split ring 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. grab my loop. 1, 2, oh, sorry, that's just 1. That was the first and second half. Here's 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. Okay, so again, I want to find the one that's gonna tug my ring closed, which is this one. Oops, I let go and then grab the wrong one. There we go. This one pulls my ring closed. Then I want to make sure I have a thread going off to both sides, coming around the back side of the project, so it's looped around my project. Lightly holding that so that it doesn't come off of my project, and pulling it through. Once it is snugged in there, I can then come and cut super close, and I have already tucked all the tails from this project. There's no sewing in ends, it's already done. So there you go, that's some practice with single shuttle split rings. There's a close-up for you.